What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today I am breaking one of the oldest rules that I have when it comes to fountain pens, and not only the oldest, but the one that honestly I think I follow and actually adhere to more than any other fountain pen rule that I have. And that is one that many people don't actually follow. I think me and Drew Brown are the exception, basically. But this rule is to not have more than 3 or 4 pens inked up at a time, because then I don't want to have to clean them all. It is much easier to maintain order of them and not let them get crusty and gross if I don't have that many inked up all at once. But I have so many pens to try out, explore, use right now that I have broken that because, I can't really get it in frame here, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pens currently inked, and this will be my number 8. Now, this is not just any Kaweco Sport. Is it a Kaweco Sport? Sure. It is from Galen Leather, and this is their Carmine edition, which is just a stunning red. There's not a ton of them left, so if you really like the look of this one, definitely go grab it now, because I don't know how much longer it's going to be around. The reason why this is not just any other Kaweco Sport is because for the very first time ever, I have a bent nib. But this is bent on purpose. This is a Fude nib, and I've never used one before. I've technically used one before, but I've never used it with any experience as far as beyond just literally a quick scribble. I've never owned one, so I did attend a couple pen meetups a few years ago, and somebody had a Fude nib there, so I gave it a quick try, but I don't even remember when, what that pen was, what that was experienced like, all that kind of stuff. So I decided to pick this one up. I have put in, it does not come with the pen, but I've put in Kaweco's little piston converter here. It holds less ink than a short standard international cartridge, but I went with it just because it's a lot easier to use than the short international cartridge. But I figure you guys really liked the video that I just did when I talked about basically being scared to to post that video when I inked up the Magna Carta for the very first time and tried out that True Flex nib, which, spoiler, wow! So if you haven't seen that yet, go check that out. That was wonderful. But you guys really liked it, and you guys seemed to really respond to that video, so I thought I would do it again because why not, right? I'm intimately familiar, of course, with the Kaweco Sport, but not this nib, so I'm not really scared to do what I did with the Magna Carta on this, but I thought I'd give it a try anyways. And I thought long and hard about the ink that I wanted to put in. I wanted to put in some sort of red, and I have a whole bunch of reds, but I decided to go with Mont Blanc Leonardo Red Chalk, or Maroon Rouge as it's called, because it's a fabulous ink, and oh gosh, well, you can't buy it anymore, so that I am sorry. That's a very Canadian way to say that. Well, you can't necessarily buy it anymore. It is still a solid choice. So we're just gonna ink this up together. So you just put the nib into the bottle, and then this might take a couple times because I can't quite tell if I have it dipped in far enough. I did not. And it pulls up the ink. If you guys have never tried to do anything on camera while you're looking through the camera versus quote unquote what's in real life, it is shockingly difficult. And I suggest you give it a try from time to time, just to see what it's like. So I'll give it a whole wipe down here. Not too much of a mess on this one. I'll desaturate the feed a little bit. This is going to be really interesting because most of the time on my Kavecos, because you guys know, I love my Kaveco sports, but I always modify them to be more wet because I like a very wet writing pen. And with this being a Fude nib, I do not trust myself to modify that at all. So we'll see what happens because I'm very curious. Let's just see if it writes right off the bat. Well, it does not. But I did pull some of the ink out of the saturation. So we'll do what we did last time with the Magna Carta and just sort of flick it down a little. Okay, so we may have to actually prime the feed even though I took out some ink. This is real time, people. Real time. No jump cuts, no nothing. So I'm just pressing down on the plunger ever so lightly, just until I can see some of the ink starting to come down the feed. Because you can see there, it's pretty darn saturated now. And then I'm going to try and flick out a drop. There we go. Because if I can swirl it in this drop, then, like I said last time, half the time it is enough to get the capillary action flowing, which typically does not happen when you bottle dip a pen, but I think I may have pulled away too much of that saturation because it seems to be flowing no problem now. All right, let's go to a fresh page just for you guys, and then we'll do the steel standard. All right, the good news is I don't have to worry about it being dry. It is very nicely tuned. Very nicely tuned. Super smooth. Now, I know that with this pen, again, I'm not intimately familiar with it, so I will become more familiar and I'll do a proper review on it. I know with this pen, obviously, like, you can write upside down. Nope. A lot of people like it to draw. And then obviously if you have it right side and you just you have it more like towards the top, you can get a thinner line. Then you can hold it further down, get a slightly thicker line. And then of course, if you go side to side, depending on the angle that you hold it, you can get thinner and thicker lines, all with the same nib. So there's lots of different ways you can hold it and manipulate it. A lot of people say it's really good for character work. Of course, with English, it doesn't really matter as much with the bold to thick line, or bold to thin line rather. But in other languages, that is important. And then, a lot of people mention drawing, which I can see this being a really, really fantastic drawing tool. I tried to teach myself how to draw during COVID, but never really happened. Oops, I did not put the pen down. So, first impressions, never having really used a Fude nib before, this is a really great first experience. It is very well tuned. Whoever in Galen Leather's universe that does it did a very, very good job. It's nice and wet, but not like a fire hose in the sense of you're never gonna have too much ink where it's just gonna blop down onto the page. I definitely am going to have to use this nib a lot to understand its properties. I mean, obviously, you know, the thinner downstroke, thicker cross stroke, even just like, you know, when I hold my pen in like the quote unquote my normal grip, then it's like, you know, a triple broad, but it is incredibly smooth. And then maybe a little bit higher up, still very smooth, and even higher, still very smooth. Upside down, it is still smooth, but you do get a tiny bit of tooth at that point. But still feels really good. It just feels like you're writing with a freshly sharpened pencil. And it is still pretty decently wet for being like a pretty fine line. Especially compared to this guy. So to be able to get this line variation, oh my gosh, I was off the page, sorry. To get this line variation in one single pen is bananas. So I am absolutely going to have to try out this pen way more to be able to learn this nib. But I have a favor for all of you guys. Let me know in the comment section down below any tips, any tricks, anything I should be aware of with this nib as I become more and more accustomed to it. Because this is definitely a new experience for me, and that does not happen very often in the fountain pen world anymore. I've been sleeping on this nib for too long. Yeah, I could just, oh my gosh, I could color this forever. Again, looking through the camera, if you don't touch the page or hold it like slightly weird, it did not want to write there, but this is going to be very angle dependent for sure. So yeah, let me know in the comments section down below. And then while you're down there, you might as well click the like and subscribe. New videos come out every Monday and Friday and the occasional Tuesday. Check the link in the description if you want to help support me further by checking out my Patreon account. But as always, if you're still watching this far in, you are the reason I make these videos. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Bye.